Hey guys, it's time for some Uber Grace, and I wanted to kind of start to try and see if we can tackle a little bit about the fear-mongering, anxiety-inducing teachings around the end times. Okay, really complex actually, although the original message of Christ in us, the hope of glory, or the kingdom is at hand, and living that way, that's really quite simple. But no, Mr. Human Being has to completely make a balls up of it and turn it into the most ridiculous set of teachings the world has ever seen. And most of you probably have been brought up through the evangelical church, where you'll have Jesus, you know, there's like a 7-year tribulation, and then Jesus comes for 1,000 years to reign this perfect reign on earth, and then the devil, who incidentally was completely knocked out at Calvary, but attacks us all the time, even though he's a defeated foe, is then put down into an abyss after 1,000 years. And then after a few days or a few years, whatever it was, he comes back out again. And that's another go. This guy just won't stay. I mean, the evangelical devil is more powerful than the evangelical God when it comes down to it. Jesus does the biggest thing at the cross, and the devil still isn't defeated thousands of years later. Oh, anyway, it is frustrating and very confusing, especially around this word millennium, this 1,000-year reign. What is that? And I think I'm going to start there, and we'll try and start unpicking bits and pieces of this very complicated, and like I say, it's a subject that actually causes a lot of anxiety and a lot of fear in people. And perfect love casts out fear. So let's involve a little bit of perfect love in here, and let's cast out some fear, shall we? The biggest number that the Romans had was actually the number 1,000. And this is evidence today, because when you write the word 1,000, it's an M, isn't it? The letter 1,000, you know, it's a number, isn't it? The letter M is the number 1,000. If you want to say 2,000, it's actually M. If you want to write 3,000, it's M. It's 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. The biggest number they could really imagine back then was 1,000. No digital stuff, no clocks really. They just had the cycles of the moon, the cycles of the sun, and all that kind of stuff. So they didn't really get things as big as that. I mean, the Romans were vast, and still their biggest number they could imagine. I mean, they had legions with 6,000 each and stuff like that, so they were getting there. Certainly in the Old Testament, they say that God owns the cattle on 1,000 hills. And you're like, which 1,000 are they? If you're going to literally believe the Bible is a literal thing, it's like, well, it's 1,000 hills. Which 1,000 are they? And actually, it's an unlimited number for them and the way they thought and their culture. It's an unlimited number. So it's better to say that God owns the cattle on an unlimited number of hills. That sounds more like God to me. So by the time it comes to the writer of Revelation, he's saying that God will reign, or Jesus will reign, for 1,000 years. What that actually means is an unlimited number of years, endless years. 1,000 to them is a mind-blowing number. If it wasn't, they'd have come up with something for 2,000. But instead, there's this 1,000, or 1,000. Okay? So Jesus will reign for 1,000 years, or will he? And this is the point. A lot of people think he's going to reign for exactly 1,000 years in this special golden age. Some people think he's coming again in the clouds of glory, and he's going to set up this kingdom probably in Jerusalem. He's going to run the whole world in a building that's smaller than the London Authority building or something like that, you know. An average town hall is probably bigger than the temple in Jerusalem that hasn't been built yet. So he's going to come at the beginning of that and set up this amazing kingdom that's just going to be this golden age for Christians and pretty rubbish for everyone else. Some people believe that there's going to become a golden age building up to, and there's this amazing reign, and at the end of that he comes back, and then it's all judgment and heaven. So you see, quite opposite things that Christians believe, and actually evangelical Christians believe both. There's a growing number of people, and I certainly went into this camp for a while once I'd sort of looked into it more. Obviously the people that come before the 1,000 years, the millennium, are saying that they're pre-mill, and those that come after are post-millennial. See, I told you, it just blows your mind how people come up with this stuff. For a long time I was an A-mill, which means A-mill is like no millennium. Like, it's not 1,000 technically, it's actually an unlimited amount of time. And then the Lord will return. I actually don't think the Lord's going to come back in a physical form anymore. But I might get to that, I might not. And I'm not the only one. I'm not making this stuff up. I'm reading stuff all the time, and I'm studying and stuff. This is not me making it up. You might think it is. But actually, a lot of people, it's all around, coming back, this 1,000 years and this, that and the other. Partial raptures. I did rapture a while ago and burst that bubble. But you see, it's so very, very complicated, isn't it? And really, Jesus came, laid his life down to show us how incredibly precious and how much he loved us, how precious we are to him. He came and gave us a way forward to live freely, no matter what our outside circumstances. He didn't come for us to start thinking this, that and the other about end times. Anyway, that's way too long, but have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye now.